Rizzo's Knock You Out Bar, a CCN 76 milk chocolate bar with caramel and pea-free milk. It's time for a KY.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story. Do you have what it takes to defend your corporate township from the dangers of alien wildlife and the unemployed? Talk to your local manager about applying for military training and lend your life to protecting our wonderful brands and products.
Colonials are always itching for a fight. Need directions? Try an engineer. Groundbreaker is a bit of a maze.
Quietly now.
Carry on.
This heat's unbearable.
Seeking relief from the heat? Till June Lay gets those radiators fixed, I've got the next best thing. The radiators, they're fucked 10 ways to Sunday. And we're all sweating buckets wondering when the powers that be are gonna get around to fixing it. Engineering. Chief Junlei Tennyson, to be precise. She runs this heap. Best she can, anyway.
Miss Junlei seems real on top of things. I'm sure she'll get it fixed up proper.
Don't know what's got her dragging her heels, but I wish she'd hurry it up. They're supposed to gather up all the heat the systems generate and vent it into space. Instead of the heat going where it ought, though, it seems to be blowing straight down the promenade. Weeks? I lost track. Too law-damn long. Groundbreaker's, what do you call it? Like in a terrarium.
A closed system, you mean?
Yeah, what she said. Can't let the outside, that is space, in, or we all die a horrifying airless death. Still gotta let the heat out, though. Or we cook. And right now, we're cooking. Couldn't say, and I wouldn't be pouring drinks professionally if I could. All I know is we're cooking in our own juices here, and it's only gonna get worse. That's not for me to say. But if you're feeling the urge toward helpfulness, you can find Chief Junlei in engineering. There's nobody who knows more about the station's guts. Any system you could name, June's crawled around inside and made it better. She doesn't come around here often, though. Don't see her as much of a drinker. Too straight-laced for that. I hear tell some folk down in the townships are getting offered early retirement. Who'd think of such a thing? What would you do with all the time? What ain't I got?
What do you recommend?
We got all colors of Rizzo's.
Something you need?
By verity, by strength. What are we contemplating today?
CNP Borstwurst. It's not the worst unless it's Borstwurst.
Sublight Salvage. Their front looks surprisingly on the up and up.
You reckon we can shop here, or is it all spoke for?
Miss Lilia takes good care of us, see? The authorities stay off our tails. Sublight for life. The corporations never lifted a finger for me. Salvage is a family business. They've got each other's backs.
Be right there. I'll make my way there. Heading back.
Welcome to Sublight Salvage and Shipping, a legitimate business for legitimate consumers. You the one flying the unreliable? Money. We got it. The Steve Doors want it. I'll take that as a yes. Miss Lily has been expecting you. I'll unlock the door. Sure am. A few years back, they got me started on simple acquisitions. You know those latches they put on cargo bays ain't worth a damn? These days, I stick to HQ and look after Miss Lilia.
Salvage is a family business. You've got each other's backs.
Got any leads on salvage? Doesn't even have to be broke yet. We'll take anything.
So you're the new captain in town. I was hoping you'd make your way to my office. Saves me the work of hunting you down. Lilia Hagen, CEO and Executive Director of Aggressive Operations. I'm guessing you already know about Sublight, otherwise you wouldn't have come. At least one system on Groundbreaker still works. It's nice to see the Unreliable again. Useful ship. Hawthorne was my contractor. I'd recognize that leaky boat of his anywhere. Is Ada still at the helm? I don't know how many times I told Hawthorne to restore that smartass to factory settings. I have a salvage job for someone light on corporate ties with a reliable set of wings, but there's a catch.
There is always a catch.
If you have a nav key to Stellar Bay, the job's yours. Interested? First, an embargo that's been active ever since the board pulled its forces off-world. Few regulations, plenty of freedom. And second, all the goodies that no one had time to pack. I like that initiative, but ease back on the throttle. Gladys at the Rest and Go might have what you need. If there's anything else, be quick about it. Time is bits. These days, the scrap business all but runs itself. Gives me the time to expand our interests into other sectors, where I can let my hair down. Our field is persuasive acquisitions. At least that's how my legal advisors tell me to phrase it. Not all of our salvage is abandoned when we find it. Sometimes it takes a polite conversation and a shot across the bow. You know, legal formalities. Your words, not mine. Hey, careful with the C word around here. I like to keep things above board, and that kind of talk only makes trouble. Sublight occupies a legal blind spot. No one knows what we're licensed to do, and that gives our little business some freedom. But let's not tempt fate. Very. I have this thing about numbers in spreadsheets. Grids in general. I like to think of myself as the last honest businesswoman in Halcyon, but I'll settle for being the most organized one. Ask. I have nothing to hide. Be seeing you. Make sure you aren't followed on your way out. Make this conversation. I don't...
I could spend hours reflecting on the secret. So,
C&P Mere Maple Syrup. It's near this complete breakfast.
I'm not going anywhere, you hear?
It's almost time for today's episode of The Chairman's Children. Care to listen with me? Yes, dearie? Ain't that just a treat? So, you know Edna, over in engineering? On occasion, she'll pass along transmissions I might find interesting. She sent me a recording of a distress signal she'd scraped from the Groundbreaker's comm array. Curious thing is, it came from an outpost called Roseway, and Auntie Cleo abandoned that place years ago. Can't say I know for sure. Maybe it never really was.
Sounds like someone poking into somewhere they shouldn't be got into a spot of trouble.
Comm centers don't operate themselves, Captain. Someone had to have sent that distress call manually.
Those corps are cleverer than all get out. Might have been a ruse to keep the rest of the board from sniffing around. Aren't you precious? No. The young man on the video was flesh and blood, all right.
Could be it was automated. Mr. Thompson used to automate the intercom in Edgewater to say all sorts of things. A bit saved is worth two in the bush was his favorite. Never did figure out what he meant.
Edna didn't seem to think so, and I trust the dear girl's judgment. Well, maybe not in men, but she knows her comms. So, like as not, someone's been down there recently. And if someone set up shop in Roseway, I'd wager they got something to hide. Quite the opposite, I believe. Nothing terribly secret about gunfire, is there? If you should find a secret worth selling, might be I could find a buyer. Corporate bigwigs will pay top bit for inside information on their competitors. The more we got the corps fighting each other, the less time they got to meddle in our affairs. That handsome Bertie Holcomb's hair isn't exactly free, after all. Bertie the Black Hole Holcomb. Handsomest young man to come out of the tossball leagues in, goodness, a generation at least.
I wonder if he's kin. Dad had family that worked for Rizzo's. I never got to meet them.
My goodness, aren't you quick on the uptake? I like that. Should you find yourself responding to a certain distress call, and in so doing find yourself in possession of certain valuable corporate secrets, well, then we ought to have a chat over a pot of tea and my famous cookies. Law bless your atoms. Here's a copy of the SOS recording, complete with the coordinates. Don't forget to come find old Gladys when you're done. Anytime, sweetheart. You know where to find me. If you're here for this week's magazine club meeting, I found a handsome ceramic mandapillar at a salvage auction last week.
interrupt your regular... scheduled advertisement for the following story. Tossball finals are scheduled to air soon.
Still getting a... Didn't quite catch that. You'll have to speak up. Glass ear? Sorry, there's a lot of static on my end. Nothing to fear. Sorry again. The sound of Groundbreaker's engines has really got to me over the years. What? Huh. Now that I heard.
I am en route, Captain.
Sure.
Coming back.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regular advertisement for the following story. Remember Auntie Cleo? Because she remembers you. When you were sick, who took your temperature? When you were hungry, who gave you a needle full of...
Now see here, what was I doing again? Damnable thing about living on a space station. No pigeons to feed. Oh, you can feed the sprats, sure enough. But then the neighbors start moaning about hygiene.
Great look! I've got a lovely little throat.